These are the two brushes that I'm looking forward to using for my scumbling. Scumbling is a great technique. It's 90% of all paintings really is scumbling, because it's really scrubbing the paint on like that. It is not this. This is what you do when you paint a wall or a garage door. See, that's not a painting technique at all. This is scumbling. Scumbling can also be done like that. And this is a number 8. It's a little bit bigger than what I want, but that's why I want it. This is a number 6, which is just exactly right. But just exactly right in any painting technique is a little bit too small. So it's better to work with the brushes a little bit bigger than what you want to. But before we start on the scumbling, we did this this drawing, the blocking in, and normally when you do your blocking in, you don't finish your blocking in when you've just copied your composition study. That's the first part of it. That is the first part of your blocking in, copying that, which I did pretty close. But notice that I use very, very, very few lines. You're not trying to draw the painting. You're just trying to show where the painting is going to be. Now, in this blocking in technique, it's nice to see, okay, now you paint from the real flower, there. The flower goes there now. So I'll draw that shape. But it's not a huge, big, important thing. Then there's a leaf that comes out here, and another little one that goes out there. But now it would be pointless for me to draw all of this into great detail, because before I get to painting this in light and shade and in color, these roses are going to die, and we're going to replace them again. So just take this, take some clean turpentine on there, and you can wipe away some of the lines you've just put in with your blocking in. It doesn't do any harm. You just wipe them away like that. Come off cleanly. So that is why drawing with the rigger brush is better than drawing with charcoal, because with a rigger brush like this, clean turpentine, see that line there? Just draw a line through it, through it, through it. And when I wipe away, it should give me a dotted line there. Not quite. But it comes away very, very clean. So that is just a comment on the original blocking in. Now we move on to the scumbling or the massing in. And the massing in is normally for your darker colors. Now, darker colors in this painting are essentially the blues. The blue here, the green there, some of the reddish color there, some more green and so on. But I want to start with this one. I do not want to lose this soft atmospheric quality that I had here. So that's difficult and it's important. I start with white. Whenever you want to mix a color that's slightly on the light side, start with your white. Scumbling is pretty dry paint. It's nearly the dryness of the paint as it comes out of the tube. So when I was young, I read that the painters of the Impressionists work with the paint straight out of the tube. So I thought, oh, they used full strength cadmium yellow, full strength blue and things like that. No, it's not that at all. They used the thickness of the paint as it came out of the tube. But now you must remember that the tubes in France are much more runny than the tubes in Britain and America. So, okay, that's about the right thickness. But it might be a little bit too pale. So, oh, that doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. All right. So I've got a pale blue on here. Now this pale blue will be too pale for that, but what I want to do there is that. It's not bad. It gives me more or less the same quality that I had there, but it's smoother. Now that's not bad. So, okay, now my Scumble technique. I'll go straight to the technique now. With blue, I'm going to take a tiny bit more blue in here. Get it on the corner of the brush, and this is how you scumble. Zig, zag, zig, zag, zig, zag, zig, zag, zig, zag. As if you're working with a pencil, and take a bit of black in here because that color is too blue. Take a bit of black in here. And carry on with the scumbling technique. Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. That's not bad. That's a real scumble. A little bit darkish maybe, but it doesn't matter because you can scumble darker or lighter. There are a couple of rules about scumbling. Here also, I would very much like to dissolve that into the ground next to it, and dissolve this into the ground next to it. That's beginning to work. It's risky. There's nothing that you can do that doesn't have risk. And in painting, you take more risks than you normally do when you're driving a car. Let's hope, at least. So like that, scumble like that, and scumble all the way down there. All the way down there. So the vase has lost its shape. But now the thing is, once you've done this, and once you've done even thicker paint than this, you come back with your rigger brush and you restate your lines. This time your lines will be restated on top of and into the wet paint that you've just applied. This rose on the right hand side is a grey rose, so it needs black. Black is not a non-color. Black is a darkening agent. It's a neutralizing agent. Black, white and grey are all essentially the same color. It's the grayscale color. So this color is better for the rose. But yeah, I'm going to work over the edges of the rose. I'm working a little bit too dark there. You see, I've made this rose darker than the vase. That can't be right. So I'm going to make the grey that I've just mixed a little bit lighter and repeat that. Scumble, 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 scumble up to that edge and a tiny bit over the edge. Tiny bit. And break it out, break it out. It's very important. Break this out into this side and so on. So that's not bad. This one here, the vase, will be darkened at a later stage. For now, it's fine. So now I've got the more muted blue there. For the rest, going up here, I'm not going to do much of a statement at all. I'll bring in some sienna into this rose, in its shadow sides. Some sienna. I'm not going to try and draw them exactly. It would be pointless because I'll be drawing different flowers tomorrow or the day after. There, like that with sienna. A little bit too dark. Add some yellow, some white into there, and just flatten it a little bit more smoothly. And then also there. So the sienna makes a beautiful dissolve where it meets the blue. When sienna meets blue, there's a marriage made in heaven. It is absolutely wonderful. So that's what we're going to do now. Then for the next thing I've got to do, I want a proper blue. A pale blue, but a strong blue. And that'll be for a little bit of the ribbon at the bottom. So a little bit of the ribbon color. So I'll mix a blue here, away from the other one. Oh, that's just about the perfect color. Exactly as it looks there. It's a little bit too dark because I want to make everything lighter. There's an important rule to remember about the dark colors. The scumble that you do is limited to the darker parts of your painting. The lighter parts of your painting, we leave the color of the underpainting. We'll do them later. That's a better color. And that can come like that. It could even be a little bit light paler. And add some more white in here so that I can dissolve this color away a little bit. Dissolve it away like that. And then also down here, there will be some of this blue. This blue will be paler. Okay, so there are three very important rules to remember about darkness. Make your darks as flat as you can. Like that, flat, flat, flat. That's nice and flat. That's nice and flat. That's not 100% flat, but that's nice and flat. That's nice and flat. So you make them as flat as you can. You make them as light as you can, and you make them as rich in coloration, as rich, as saturated, we say these days with Photoshop, as richly tinted as you can. So those three things. So for the moment, I think I've done enough scumbling. I'll do a little bit more just for fun, just there to connect that loose bit of blue there, which is rather nice, to this one. And then I just want to show you my friend George's technique of scumbling. He didn't use a brush like I do. This was my way. This was George's way. He used it like a chisel, the way you sort of scrape paint off a wall or something. See? He liked to scumble like that. And he always did magnificent work. So I think that's enough to show what the scumbling technique is about. The main thing to remember about the scumbling technique is that it is dry paint and that you work with your paint in a zigzag motion. There, zig, zag, zig, zag, zig, zag, zig, zag, zig, zag. You can see this kind of thing very beautifully in some of the Louis-Lautrec's paintings where he did that. I don't think he did it slowly and carefully like I did it there. And if it's too zigzaggy, all you do is scumble in the other direction and you melt it together. Yeah, so I'm happy with this so far. I don't see any other dark. Oh, there's the dark of that flower, that leaf. I don't really want to put the leaf in, but just because it's there, I'm going to do it. I'm picking up some black paint here instead of yellow, instead of green paint. Black paint to mix with yellow. And when you mix black with yellow, you get the most beautiful green, more beautiful than you can get when you mix blue with yellow. So there, just like that. That's too dark. There, just a little darkness there, just a little dark. Maybe a little bit too dark. Doesn't really worry me. And then also on this side, just here under the flower, a little bit of darkness like that. That color works better for the green. All right, we'll stop there. That's enough for you to get on with. And then our next step after this is going to be direct painting, which is the technique of the Impressionists. Of course, any good painter, including the Impressionists, would have known all these techniques. The Impressionists, although they broke every rule of painting, they didn't do a color beginning. That's breaking the rule. They should have done a color beginning. They didn't do a blocking in. They should have. That's breaking the rule. They just went straight to the direct painting. But the Impressionists, all of them, went to the best art schools in the world. And they learned every one of these techniques that we have been working on now, that we've been exploring now. They knew all of them, and they could use them or they could leave them. That's the glory of the Impressionists. Okay, so we stop there. In the next session that we're going to do, we're going to carry on with the same thing. We can finish all of the painting here, we can finish all of the painting there, we can finish all of the painting there, but we're going to try and leave the roses either till the next session, or during the next session we're going to do just the roses and leave this for a later painting. I think that's probably better, to focus on the roses for the next session. Our flowers will change, they'll fade, and they'll die. That's just the nature of, well, that's the nature of nature. Nature is constant change. It applies to us as well, I'm afraid, but at least in the meantime, in the middle, we get a chance to blossom and bloom. Thank you very much. It's very nice to have you here. Look what's lying there. It's a bee. But it's so nice to have it there. Last time we had the cat there, now we have a bee there. Have a nice week or a nice day. Bye all.